Yes, hello. This is Bob Smutzer. Listen, the last 3 nights, a little gray alien come pounding at my door, and when I open it up, he wants to borrow a gallon of milk. Now, I made the mistake of giving him a gallon the first night, and the second night, and the third night. But I cannot continue to supply dairy products for the entire population of Venus.
Now it's time for a pleasant time out from our activities. Tony, what refreshments do we have for the folks today?
Well, Arthur, we have some,
Golly, you know what I would like? Some russet apples.
russet apple, Arthur. We don't have those.
Remember having those as a boy. They were delicious. Delicious, delicious. Well, what do we have for the audience?
Well, Arthur, we have some...
Cocoa would be delicious on a cool fall day like this.
Yes,
Real
it would,
brisk
Arthur.
fall. What do we have?
We have some grape juice, Arthur.
Cold?
Yes, Arthur.
I don't know whether the folks are going to like that or not.
Sent over from the Grape Institute.
The Grape Institute?
That's right, Arthur. We have little...
That is a wonderful institution.
That's right, Arthur. It is.
Love some russet apples. What else do we have?
Arthur, we have a paper container with peanut butter in it, Arthur.
That's good.
And
That's
some
good.
pralines sent up from down south, Arthur.
Some pralines, huh?
Pralines,
Those
Arthur.
were delightful.
They were pralines, Arthur.
What else?
Now, they pralines or pralines, Arthur.
Well, I always called them pralines.
Well, you'd know.
But you can call it either way.
Well, I'm sure you'd be right, Arthur.
Call them pralines.
I will from now on, Arthur.
Anything else for the folks? What's in that little paper cup there?
Well, that's aftershave lotion, Arthur.
Well, they don't get any of that stuff, do they?
Oh, that's mine, Arthur.
That's your own. Well, I hope you folks enjoy your refreshments. Please don't leave the papers in the studio. Put them in the baskets provided for the purpose.
County and country fairs are the big things this season. Wally Ballou standing by in Plimpton, Iowa. Come in, please, Wally Ballou.
Panoramic scene of fall beauty here in Plimpton as the townspeople have poured into the county seat to celebrate their local fair days. All along either side of the midway, you can hear the chatter of happy people, boys and girls, men and women, oldsters, youngsters alike, all enjoying this fall spectacle of a typical American nature. I'm standing in front of one of the exhibits here, and I want to talk with some of the townspeople who are gathered around. This fellow here is trying his luck at the, what do you call that machine? The
Strength machine.
strength machine.
Hit the bell, you're strong.
You've been hitting the bell quite frequently and with great regularity,
Well,
sir.
I'm strong. I don't mind saying.
What have you won so far for hitting the bell 3 times?
Cupid doll. I won a jellied apple. And I don't know what they're going to give me now. They'll probably try to buy me off. I've been hitting it so regularly.
I guess you'll
I'm
be walking
excited.
away with all of the prizes. What's your town famous for, sir?
Well, mostly for agricultural products and like that. Now, I have here, of course, what I'm celebrating is I brought in the biggest squash.
I noticed you looked a little bit piquant today. The summer squash, is it?
Yes, it
Or
came...
late summer squash?
No, I developed this squash came on the 5th of July.
And it's lasted all this time.
That's right. It's the biggest squash they've ever seen here at the Plimpton Fair.
And you'll probably be going on the wagon till spring, is that right?
Well, we work. I don't. Yes, of course we can't use the wagon in the winter so much. We put runners on them. We get a lot of snow out here, you know.
Seems to be a touch of snow in the air today. I know the clouds have been a little bit gray. There's another.
Hey, there's a fella there.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Very good.
Wait a minute, that was my wife.
Well, you'd better watch out for her then.
Well, she's a strong lady.
The winner of the pie eating contest was just shoved up in front of my microphone. And, sir, you look as if you're stuffed.
Well, I've been eating a lot of pie.
How many pies did you eat to win the contest?
115.
115 pies.
Apple, squash, gooseberry, blueberry.
Loganberry.
No. Lemon meringue.
Blueberry.
Blueberry, yeah.
Pumpkin.
Squash.
Rhubarb.
No rhubarb. Cherry.
Lemon meringue.
Look, I said that. 120 pies.
115 pies, you said. And certainly, that's a lot of pies for one afternoon. I suppose you'll be going home to dinner now.
Well, I don't think I'll eat right away. Maybe I'll wait a little later.
So, this is some of the color of this Clifton County Fair, and the beautiful place it is, too. And until next time, this is Wally Ballou saying to as many radio fans,
Go for the ball!
This is Biff Burns with another of our on-the-spot sports reports. And seated here across the table with me is a venerable gentleman of some 68 summers and winters, and who a few years ago was one of the foremost backfield men in football. I'd like to introduce Dad Gormley. Dad, it's a great pleasure having you today.
Well, it's a pleasure for me to be
Dad,
here.
Dad,
All right.
into this microphone, if you will.
Well, it's a pleasure for me to be here.
Dad Gormley, sports fans, and I'm sure, Dad, that you can tell us some of the changes that have taken place in football since the days you played it as a star.
Well, of course, the big change in football now, when I was playing it, is the forward pass. Forward pass was out. When I played, we had to grind out. Through the line, pound it out, step on, push. None of that petty-wasting forward passing.
Pretty rough in those days, Dad, eh?
You bet it was rough. The game isn't like it is now.
What was...
The game is for sissies now. Sissies. I mean it.
What was the most memorable game in your memory, Dad?
Well, you mean the one that I recall easily.
Most vividly.
The one that comes back in my mind clearly.
That's right, the one that stands out.
None. I can't recall any game that stands out any more than the famous game of Harvard and Yale in 89-6.
Did you play in that game, Dad?
No.
Well, thanks a lot for coming up here today and bringing us some of these old reminiscences.
But I would like you to know that I don't think football is as hard a game now as it was when I was a boy. By that I mean, with all that forward passing, it's no game for men, it's a sissy game.
Dad Gormley, and this is Biff Burns saying so long.
Why, I used to...
This is Rachi Troxel of the International Breakfast and Meat Company. I have left several messages for you in the past, have not received a call back. That's okay, you guys are very busy fellas. Listen, we would like to become one of your on-air sponsors. We're in favor of breakfast meat. We make meat that you could put into your hot chocolate, meat that you could put into your cereal, meat that you could put on your Pop-Tarts, meat that you could put into your coffee, meat that you could put into your banana muffin, meat that you could put in your pancakes, and meat that you could put into the syrup, too.
And now, One Feller's Family, brought to you by Panucci, the greatest name in fudge. Today's episode, entitled October, is taken from Book 15, Chapter XIV, pages 10. It's Shortly before noon, the Butcher family, we find Father Butcher talking with Mother Butcher. We hear Mother Butcher
leaves
coming down the
falling
hall,
down,
saying to Father
and-
Butcher that she will soon answer the door.
You be quiet, please, announcer.
Yes, sir.
Why does he do that, anyway?
I don't know. Sooner
What were you
or later, he's
saying?
going to take up the whole episode with the synopsis.
What were you saying before he interrupted us?
Fanny, I was just saying that now that we're into October, the summer is gone by once again.
Oh, yes. Summer's all over now. Leaves are all turning, and the lawn is turning brown. That's because you got so much crabgrass there, you old goat.
Beautiful time of year.
Next door, the lawn is still green.
Well, I had to spend all of my time with the rose bushes, Fanny.
You don't have to spend all your time with the rose bushes. We didn't have a one bud on that bush all year.
Well, that's because they were trimmed back a little bit too far, too soon.
Always do it. Right after breakfast, you go out and trim the rose bushes. You drive me crazy sometimes.
I'll have to begin raking the leaves pretty soon. Burning them in the backyard.
They make nice mulch, those leaves, if you just leave them on some of the flower beds.
Keep the weeds from coming up through the tomato plants if we had any.
Well, tomato plants wouldn't grow this time of the year.
No, it's fall, Fanny.
Of course it's fall. It's October.
There's a nip in the air. So the episode was going to end that quickly.
You have been listening to One Feller's Family.
2 more pages here.
The time is up, sir.
You didn't take so long with the introduction. We'll go further with the story.
If you didn't jumble your words so, maybe we'd get through it quicker.
Sure.
Sure yourself.
Don't you talk to him that way.
Mind your own business, lady. One Fella's Family is brought to you by Panucci, the greatest name in fudge. Today's episode, entitled October, was taken from Book 15, Chapter XIV, pages 10.
There's all that stuff about my membership in the Salminio fan club. Didn't even get to that.
Well, I've lost my place.
Light is blinking on the desk here, and I guess that would mean a call from somebody.
Hello, Bob, Ray?
Bob, yes.
Ray, get off there, will you, fella? How
this
are
is
you?
Bob.
Put on,
It's Steve
Bob.
Bosco,
Bob,
ladies and
Steve.
gentlemen,
This is
right.
Steve Bosco.
Sports News with Steve Bosco.
Hello,
now.
Bob.
Right.
Steve.
Where are you calling?
Hello. Operator, I've been cut off.
No, you haven't. I can hear you fine.
Bob, Steve Bosco.
Right.
How's everything?
Good. You want to talk to Ray?
No, put on Bob, will you, Ray?
This is Bob.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Steve, how are you?
Everything going along just fine. I've been chasing down some sports car enthusiasts to find out what makes them tick. It's got a very interesting background to it. You know,
Yeah.
that's quite a... Hello?
But
Hello?
I would think
Hello?
that football would be more in
Hello?
keeping with the day,
I've
something
been
that...
cut off again, operator.
No,
I'm
Steve.
calling Bob and Ray. Will you check on that, operator?
Hello, Steve.
Bob.
Right.
Hello, I thought I was cut off there for
What's
a
the
minute.
football picture for today?
And these sports car enthusiasts are a real breed. I mean, they love their cars. They rev them up. They like to go fast.
We went into all that last week.
And I think it's going to catch on. And they like these small cars that are compact and really pack a lot of horsepower.
Okay.
Hey, look, I need some money.
Oh,
if you
no.
could send me a little money, about $435 out here. You see, I've been carried away, and I've been signing a lot of checks. Dave Garraway.
Oh, well, you can't get away with that. You ran into the same problem signing Ford Frick's name. Now, you should have learned your lesson by this time. Hello?
Thought I was cut off there for a minute. So will you send that money to me, please, to the most expensive hotel in Salt Lake City? Now, this is Steve Bosco rounding third, being thrown out at home.
We take you now somewhere in Manhattan and to a sightseeing bus.
All right, folks, if you'll just sit back and relax now, we're traveling down Fifth Avenue, which is known as one of the main thoroughfares of Manhattan, east of Fifth. The numbers are called
Clarence.
east, west of Fifth.
Clarence,
yes?
this is Madison Avenue. I don't mean to correct you in front of all these
moving.
listeners.
down Madison Avenue here. We're going south, and we'll be turning right in just a few moments on to...
Clarence, we're traveling north, and we'll have to make a left turn up here at an even number street.
We'll make a left turn on a westbound street. All of the westbound streets go west, and the eastbound streets go east. Therefore, if we're going north, we make a left turn.
I'm afraid you're wrong. I have a little rule of thumb I use, even east.
Will you tend to your driving, please, Harry, and let me tend to my sightseeing talk?
I know, but I can't...
Over there, you'll see the site of one of the most famous restaurants here in New York, and I don't remember the name of it.
Well, I don't think the sign could be much bigger, Clarence, than it is.
The sign was taken down, Harry, to be repaired earlier this week.
Well, we've only passed it every day of our lives.
Now we're
for almost
crossing
15
Fifth
years.
Avenue, ladies and gentlemen. Up to the right, you'll see Central Park. It stretches for a good many blocks from 59th Street north, and a good many, well, not a good many, about 3 blocks from 5th Avenue west, I think. I'll check that for you. If you'll just slow down a little bit, Harry. You're going a little
I tell you
too...
now, you describe what we're passing. I'll do the driving, Clarence. I think that would be a fair arrangement.
That's what I've been trying to do, Harry, ever since we set out on this trip. You're absolutely the worst person to work with on one of these sightseeing tours that I've ever had the...
I think if you describe to the people who have purchased tickets just what we're doing here, I think they'd think they were getting more for their money than listening to you argue with me, Clarence.
We're turning left into what is known as the Great White Way.
This is not the Great White Way. It will be 10 blocks before at the
You're
Great
right,
White.
Harry. You're right. I did make a mistake on that. It looked like Times Square to me, but it wasn't. It was Columbus Circle. And over there you'll see the preparations for a great amphitheater. And
That's a statue of Christopher Columbus, everybody.
The circle is named after Christopher Columbus, obviously, and anyone who'd ever seen his picture or his statue would know who is that fellow in the statue.
Hold on to your hats. I'm going to make a right turn.
We're turning right now. Ray, have you noticed the pile of mail in reaction to the film of the Bob and Ray mystery bus ride that we ran a few weeks ago? It looks like the folks like more films.
I think so. At least the mail would indicate that.
So we thought we would bring along another one today and run off for you and describe what it is, because winter is just around the corner.
And that is the annual Bob and Ray ski trip, when we invite people to come with us to ski, even you novices. We have gentle slopes for you, and, of course, for the more accomplished skier, we have real dangerous hills.
I'm going to start the projector right now. This last ski weekend was held in North Conway, New Hampshire last year, and we didn't have anybody but our staff with us.
Right, wait a second. Right here, we're arriving, and we're all getting off the train and waving at each other, and
there's Mary Magoon over there, and Webley Webster. And
they're throwing snowballs at each other, and they're so happy to be finally at North Conway.
There we go to the chairlift, and we're heading up for the novice slope, which is not as novice as it looks. It's a lot steeper than you can see in these pictures.
Right here now is where Webley falls.
There
he is. And he got out of the hospital about the 7th of July.
You'll notice that ambulance parked at the foot of the hill. Now you can see the hill. Looking down there, you see the ambulance, and that's kind of a weird sight when you're starting down, not knowing just how good a skier you are. This was the first time for all of us.
It's a comfort, though, the minute you start to tumble, to know...
Wait. There's the shot of you pushing Miss Magoon off to start.
Look at that.
And she, of course, arms akimbo.
She took a rather nasty spill. Fortunately, however, she went into a deep snowdrift and didn't suffer much more than lacerations.
Well, look, there goes Blue with his pack transmitter. He was going to do a tape describing the sensations as he skied down, but as we see there, he got about 10 feet over the rim and hit the bare rock. And there's the ambulance with its treads. You see they get right up there close.
You might point out here that pack transmitter he carries came away without a mark. It was still...
We're still using it.
Still using it. Wally was...
There you see Ray and I going back down the hill in the chairlift, and the view you get from that is something that you'll long remember. Of course, we remember the weekend for quite some time anyway.
Have we whetted your appetite, folks?
I'll turn it off now.
Right.
Well, that's a sample of it.
So if you'd like to join us for another one of these great weekends, you be sure to let us know. We'll try to keep the price fairly reasonable. You know what I mean?
Who do we have on the hot seat?
We have one of the top jazz musicians on our hot seat. A gentleman who's making musical history over at one of the plush nighteries here in Manhattan. Slats, will you step up?
Sure enough.
Slats, want to welcome you here to our hot seat and want to fire away a few questions that we'd like to have direct answers to.
Oh, man.
Slats, I know that you've established a new type of music.
Well, I mean, Ma, I play the tune, man.
You try to stick to the tune and yet add a few variations which come off pretty cool in musical jargon.
Well, I don't know what you mean, man.
I have an item here from the New York Star of April 18th, 1947. Quoting you as saying, Guy Lombardo is my favorite. I'll always like to remember the tune. That's why I keep the tune foremost in my music.
Well, I said that, but you...
1947.
1947.
Do you still feel that way about it?
I've changed my mind on that. Man, I've had that statement presented to me before.
In other words, you don't follow the Lombardo line of music,
no.
Following the melody as much as you used to.
Well, I follow the melody, but not square digging it, man.
All right.
Like that guy does.
All right. Here in the Boston Enterprise, February 16th, 1953.
That's right, man.
Slats McGurk is playing in the true style of Guy Lombardo. He says he likes to keep to the tune, that he likes to follow the melody and make it carry forth in his music.
Well,
that was 1953, Slats.
Well, there was a lot in that one interview that didn't show up in the
But
press
you did
report.
say those things.
I won't say I said that exactly.
Well, they're quoted here in the paper.
Well, I've been quoted plenty of time, man. But it doesn't...
Well, why do you say those things to reporters if that isn't what you feel? You were playing a pretty cool brand of music back there in Boston in 1953, if I remember. And yet you said that you still... retain the Lombardo technique in all of your arrangements, the Lombardo style.
Well, look, man, I've said a lot of things, but I've said them differently than the way they show up in the paper when I've been quoted, man.
Let's go back to last week, the Hobo News. Slats McGurk is quoted as saying his favorite musician is Guy Lombardo. Guy Lombardo provides the stimulus for all of the arrangements of my group. I try to keep the tune as Lombardo does. I try to play in his style.
I couldn't say that.
That was just last week, sir.
I couldn't say that. Now, that's wrong. I don't know where you got that information.
You did say it. It's right here. It was published last week.
I never used the word stimulus.
And at this very moment last week, you were playing this cool brand of jazz, which set you apart.
Just a minute, will you, Mike? I've never used the word stimulus.
Well, perhaps that word was
well, they
used to
enclosed it
cover
in quotes. And when you enclose anything in quotes, it's supposed to be exactly as the other person said.
All right.
I mean it.
All right. Let's go along to something else. Here in the October... Slats?
What's that?
Are you ready to follow another line
Yeah,
of
I'm ready
questioning?
now. I feel much better.
Here in the October issue of one of the top jazz magazines, it says that...
Let's go, man.
While he's up there on the stand, Slats doesn't think anything about how the music sounds.
Right, I don't care a hoot when I'm up there. See, I'm playing for myself generally then. I think that's the true mark of any musician, actually. He plays for his own enjoyment. If people want to pay in to see this fella enjoy himself, well, it's their tough turkey.
In other words, it's personal satisfaction that counts.
You bet it is.
Just one final question,
Sure.
Slats. If you had it to do all over again,
Right.
if you had your choice of going in, let me phrase it another way.
Sure.
In other words, what I'm trying to say is...
wait a minute. I think I know what you're trying to ask me. Would I do it all over again?
That's it.
Same general way that
That's right.
No.
Well, thank you, Slats McGurk, one of this country's all-star jazz musicians for dropping
Thank
by.
you. It hasn't been as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Sitting in our hot seat today, and now here's a little sample of his music. We have time to play 1 minute, please, with anybody here
I
today?
think so, yeah.
Anybody like to play 1 minute, please?
Could I?
All right, sure, Ray. You want to reach into the box there?
Okay.
Take out a subject. I'll read the subject. When you hear the bell sound, you'll have 1 minute to expostulate. Your subject is paper cups.
Paper cups. Paper cups are made, of course, from paper. They come in various sizes. Sometimes you can put, can I start over again?
Sure.
I got off to a very bad start. Paper cups are...
Oh, I'm afraid your time is up.
Oh, wait a
It's
minute.
a very good start, but...
That wasn't a minute.
Gotta make time. No, but you used up some time.
No, but I said, could I start over
I know,
again?
but we still call you for other time. Figures in there.
That doesn't seem fair
What are you trying to
me.
do, cheat?
No, I don't want to cheat. I just want to get
You're
a
trying
fair...
to cheat, get more time.
I just wanted to have a fair chance. I got off to a bad start.
You did get off to a bad start, yes, but you
And I thought
certainly...
it would be only... There's no one else to play the game.
No, there's no one else to play the game. You volunteered to play the game.
Oh, what does he mean? I'd play.
All right, here's a lady who wants to play. I guess we have time for her. Madam, will you come over here?
Yeah.
And let's see what you can draw out of... No hard feelings, Ray.
No, but...
I mean, you got to admit that we've got to allow...
I know, I understand.
Okay, ma'am, when you hear the bell, you start. Talk for 1 minute. Your subject, paper clips.
Paper clips are made out of clips. Paper clips.
You want to start over again?
Could I?
Sure.
Thank you.
Turn the clock back. Okay.
Well, wait a minute.
Go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am.
Paper clips are made out of metal.
Very good.
Actually, it is one long piece of metal, probably an inch and a half or 2 inches long, that's been bent.
Used to hold papers together.
Used to hold papers together.
Much in the manner of a staple, only more portable.
It's like a staple. Only thing, it can be reused. It's more portable.
Also used for other things, making bracelets out
It's
of.
also used to make bracelets and for other things. Some men use them for tie clips and so forth.
You can use them to pin today's specials at a luncheon onto the regular menu, which is printed.
You can use them to print today's special menu on a regular printed menu.
Hey,
And
wait a
your
minute,
time.
boy.
Wonderful, Matt.
Wait
What?
a second.
What?
You helped her and you gave her a minute?
Well, no, she was playing fairly. I just tried to give her a few hints that might help her. I would have done the same for you if you'd had
Well,
the time.
of course he would have.
Of course I would have.
Surely.
Okay? No hard feelings, huh?
No hard feelings. No.
Swell. Thank you for coming along.
You're entirely
yeah.
welcome.
And you've added a great deal to... We have 1 minute of music,
Is anyone
please?
going to finish this jelly donut?
Oh, you're welcome to that. It's Ray's, but I'm sure he doesn't mind.
Well, No.
Well, she's already taken it right
Go ahead,
now. I don't think
Tom.
you can take it back very well after I gave it to her, do you?
No, I guess not. I suppose I shouldn't have brought in one jelly donut. I should bring them
if
for
you
everyone.
can't bring them for the whole
Studio.
class, why...
Dear pop, 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 and ray, 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 I hear the tender sigh. Alack, alas, how time doth pass, for now we say goodbye.